There are a lot of new features that are going to be in 6. I really only want to talk about 3 here that I believe are super useful to this crowd. So the first one I want to talk about is the search bar. So the search bar, when we first started talking about it, I said how it's, your primary and your secondary. The enhancement to version 6 is that it's still the primary and the secondary, but now it can also be whatever other field you want. You go to fields, and you find soloist, and you say, should I be looking in that field when I do the search bar? You say yes. That's all there is to it. I can sit here and do that on any number of fields. I'm going to have this searching property. And so now, and I'm going to actually use this example twice, but it works in this data, so that's why I'm going to repeat myself essentially. I set up my search bar to look in the conductor, the orchestra, the soloist fields, and I'm going to put the microphone down and type James Galway. And so I'm going to modify my display here and show you that I have him in this data as a conductor and as a soloist. And so by simply typing his name once, having changed those properties, I have now found every piece in my database, in those fields that I picked, where James Galway is listed. So the change in the search bar essentially means that if there's more than just 2 fields that you're interested in looking at, you can go ahead and configure that, no matter what those fields are. Your choice. Your choice. The second big one has to do with those prompted queries. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit continue and make the whole library come up because I want to show you that query. Remember I said how, so you have to do composer contains this, composer contains that. You got to do all those lines. Kind of a problem because now when you run it, you got to tab through them all, right? So first of all, notice you will now in version 6 have the ability to cancel. Yeah, we heard that request. It's there. But I want you to pay attention to this one that I added. It's called Players. And there's only 2 lines. It's the composer and who the players are. And once again, I want to put the microphone down and type James Galway. And so again, you see that I have those same pieces I had before, where it shows him as the conductor or the soloist. Now I'll just show you the guts of this one. What we are allowing you to do in version 6 is to say the same field prompt name more than once. So now all you have to do is say @prompt, and I said players. And that, who are the players? They're the conductor, the orchestra, the soloist. And now I don't have to sit there and tab through all those individual lines that I set up. I can just put one line and put it in there. So again, way easier for you to find what you're looking for and speed that up. And then the final thing I'd like to show you is in both the schedule editor and here in library maintenance. So I am currently in library maintenance. We have this new thing called key mapping. So are there functions that you do an awful lot? Key mapping will allow you to map a specific alt key to that function. So I've got Alt1 set to open the attribute editor. Alt2 is the packet editor. So Alt and the number 2, and kaboom, there it is. So if there's something that you use often that you would like to map, you're able to do that. We'll have a whole long list of things available to you here, including specific grid designs, different things with trivia and library queries and things like that. This same concept is in the schedule editor. So now on the schedule menu, I can do key mapping. And you can see that I have the ability to clone hours, check the log. I'll do that in a sec. There's your select list. And you can see all the different things that you can do here. So you can pick that relevant thing, and now you're simply able to use that Alt key. So I want to clone some hours, or check the log. That's always a good one. Alt 2. And it'll just come right up for you. So these are many, many more things are in version 6. We wanted to just take a few minutes today and show you 3 things that we thought would be of big interest to you and the way you use your data. So we're very much looking forward to it. I'm not at liberty to tell you when it's coming out. I'm pretty sure. Oh, but I believe the president of our company is at liberty to tell you when it's coming out. October 15th. Mark it on your calendars. That's when version 6 will be available. Obviously, if it's something you're interested in for your radio station, I am here for the conference. So you can certainly find me and we can discuss that and get you all squared away. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, Reiner, is there something else that you would like to share?
Right now, you see, when you see the category here, you see the category the song is in now. But now you can add another column and you can see where was the song and which category was the song and when it was scheduled. You know? So you see, okay, it's not, in this case, we have not a lot of movements in the songs, but it's interesting. You know, people had to go to the F9. You had to go to F9 and look at your move history to see. Or so in F9, you saw actually the category it was played. But in the schedule editor, it was showing the category which the song is in now. So if you have a lot of movements, you know, recurrence, moving currents over there, it did only show you where it's now. Now it shows you also where it comes from. So where it was in the time it was scheduled. That's a very neat one. I think a lot of people were asking for this. Also in the history browser, we were before in the history browser. Let's go just jump back to the history browser for a moment. And you're in the history browser and you find out, just go on one song, let's run any report. And you see the song, oh, there's something wrong. Why is this song? You can go now to the song card up there and edit right there. So you don't have to go back to the category, open the song card. You go in the history browser, open the song card, make your edits, close it, and it's done. That's one which just saves you time moving from one place to the other. And then we have, of course, our new method of migrating positions, which is recursive scheduling. And I think there's nobody better to explain recursive scheduling than Mr. Presidente personally, because it takes migrating a step further, and especially for you guys in classical music, I think this is a huge, huge improvement. Mr. President.
Thank you, Reiner. Well, yeah, recursive scheduling is a new thing in version 6, a scheduling method that will initially work only with migrating positions. The migrating positions, just to review, are a position in the clock that can have more than one category that you call for. And there are flex rules that work with those, and the flex rules allow you to set a minimum and maximum use of that category in the hour. So in this case, we have all these categories in each position, but we're saying we want at least 4 A's and 4 B's and so on. And we have, you can also set up no segue, don't go from category A to category B, things like that. What migrating positions used to do was build a clock that was randomized, and that's pretty much all it did. What the addition of recursive scheduling does is an incredible leap forward in music scheduling technology. MusiMaster now tests all the songs that are available for each category in each of the positions where that category can be used. And it searches relentlessly for what's the best song to use and what's the best position to use it in. And so instead of, in the past, music scheduling would only fill one position at a time. This is actually filling multiple positions. And it's actually got the power to schedule something and then later, in a later pass, say, you know, I can do better than that. And to pull that thing out and replace it with a perfect song. And as long as it follows these flex rules. And if you need a particular category in a position, you can create a flex rule, or you can create a migrating position that only contains that one category. So you can say, this must be a category A, but I want the scheduler to have the flexibility to find the perfect A that fits in this position. So that's basically it, a simplistic description of it. There's going to be more information about it, but what it can do is particularly interesting to pop stations that have super tight playlists where they have, 7 currents and they play them all in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then they repeat it and repeat it. Because what this will do is allow those songs, instead of playing in exact locked order, they'll be able to flip around within an hour and find the position that gives them the optimum artist separation and things like that. What it will do for classical music, and I'm going to go back because I've written some notes down here that have to do with making different levels of the timing segments, and also some better handling of when a long piece is used and the unscheduled positions are still counted. We're going to make some changes there. But what recursive scheduling will do is to be able to say, if I placed a long piece early in this hour, and now I have a short piece, I can find a better place to play this later in the hour. But it might be able to say, you know what, now that I've placed I placed this longer piece here, but it wasn't perfect. It violated a breakable rule. Later on, it can come back and say, okay, now I have to put a short piece in its place because I found a perfect one. And now I'm going to take this replace the shorter piece I had here that was not perfect later in the hour and replace that with a longer piece. And I believe that effect will cause the hour to fill, at least in the auto scheduler. It'll fill the hour much more close to the timing limits that you set for the hour with better choices of songs. Because it now gives it the flexibility to take a song away and replace it with something else. Similar to the way you would while you're editing. So that's basically it.
In addition to this, again, what we talked very in the beginning, the pass order, here is a very important part. Because if you want to put your A's in, it now looks at all the A positions. No matter if it's a fixed or migrating, tries to catch the A's. And that's, again, why I would like you, when you go and think about optimizing your stuff, go back to the pass and fool around with the pass order and see if it's get a better result. This is mainly for the automatic schedule, but now comes actually the best part for the manual scheduling. If you're in a replacement song, if we want to replace this A song right there where Jill just is, we go to just give me the perfect ones, just perfect ones. Just the perfect ones. Now you find a new little icon here. This probably will look different when the software is rolled out on 15th of October, but the functionality will be the same. This is the coolest little button we have on that page. It's another martini glass. And since we all like martini glasses, we open this little martini glass. Now you see all the rules. You don't see all your rules because over here you would see all, can we switch this on too? All the rules over here on the right side. Yeah, and now again this button. So, there's a difference. On that side you see all the rules that are used for that position. In this window, you see all the rules which made songs not to play, which prevented songs from playing. Now I see, oh, yes, this is It's an impressive. We have one unbreakable rule here, and this actually, shoot the word. 170 out of 330 songs will not be played, will be skipped here because of that rule. Now we see we only have a few songs here. If we now, what we can do now, we can switch off this rule. We double click on the rule. On that one. Just double click on it. Yeah. And now we see this rule is switched off. Now you can run OK, and it runs and it gives you more songs. It tests the songs and you will have more songs which respect all the other rules, but this rule not. So now you really can go and say, okay, well, in this case you had enough choice anyway, but let's say we have these positions where we have one song, or worst of all, no songs. You now go and say, well, this rule is not so important for me, or all the breakable, and if you have a rule group, you can switch off the whole rule group. So this is a rule group which I don't care in this position, but I want to find the songs. So here you can really go in now and tailor your rules in the manual scheduling. This is a big, huge difference. And you see for every position how many songs it basically took out of the possible new songs, possible playable songs. So it's a whole lot. And over here, he removed 202 songs out of the 1,697 selected. So you're in a very comfortable position here. But there's, in reality, we have other situations where we removed 1,698 out of the 1,697. So there was 000 songs. And here you can now scale this. And I think this is, for me, this is especially also for guys like you who do a lot of manual work. This is just killer. So remember, scalable rules inside the F9 window. Yes, Mr. President.
Instead of switching off a rule that's causing some songs to be eliminated from the list, you can also relax the rule by a certain degree. And so if you see that this rule is blocking 100 songs choices, you can say, relax that rule 10%, or relax that rule 20%. And now more songs will be available. And that's very powerful. Another thing is that using this screen will actually, over time, educate you as to what rules you have that are preventing pieces from playing. And if you see, while you're using this a lot, that this always has a high number of rejected songs because of this rule, it might be a red flag that you should go and look at the settings for those rules and see if there's something you can permanently change that alleviates that problem.
Yeah. So
notice your icon change. I relaxed that. So the first one, the composer, I disabled completely. So the icon is grayed out a little bit. It may be difficult to see here. This one I relaxed, so it's got the down arrow. So when you're visually looking at this, and obviously when you're looking right at your screen, it'll be much easier to see.
And if you want to be real extreme, you can disable them all. Then you definitely will find songs.
Quick question. How long does that stick for? Is it just for
that position? Yeah.
This position.
That position.
It stays on if you say, okay, I want to give.
You'd have to go to the rule tree to make it permanent.
This position, it was
right, but if you relax the rule, that one rule by 10%, clicked OK, you found a replacement, and then
went to a completely different position.
Right, and then you came back to that position, would it still be in effect for that position?
Okay.
It's only in that side.
I don't think so.
It's only in this scheduling session.
Actually, while you're replacing that position.
I think it's just while you're replacing that position, so it's going to be at that specific instance, not when you come back.
That's why I can give you. So as soon as you go to another position, it will be all fresh because you don't have total different rule set probably for that song. So it has to refresh. It's a good idea if you go back that it stores this scheduling session, and if you go back to that former song, it would show you that's a nice. I don't know if it's possible. We have to ask programming, but it's a great idea. So you could, because you make a couple of changes, then you might go back to that. But I want to change this again. So what did I put? That's a great idea. So this is, I would say this were the essential version 6. There will be more, but that's quite a good stuff here.
Thank you, Reiner.